Turning now to the COVID-19 situation in South Korea, the country has now seen more than 3 million infections since the pandemic began. However, officials say there has been great progress on the vaccination front.
For more, our reporter Shin Ye-eun is here in the studio with us. Good morning, Yeun.
Good morning.
Let's start with the local infections today.
Right, so we're expecting to see the daily tally hover near the 140,000 mark because as of 9 p.m. Sunday, South Korea reported 135,361 new infections. Though this was a drop of more than 18,000 from the day before, it was still 1.5 times more than what was reported the same time last week. Compared to 2 weeks ago, this figure was up 250%. Including Sunday's tally, South Korea has recorded over 3 million infections since the pandemic began. If you recall, the country passed the 1 million mark earlier this month, which was more than 2 years since the first infection was reported. But with the rapid spread of Omicron, we added an extra 1 million infections in 15 days. And now we've hit the 3 million mark in a single week. The number of people in critical condition is also doubling as the Omicron surge continues. In the last 4 weeks, we've seen the daily average of critically ill patients go up from 272 to 541. Accordingly, hospital beds have quickly filled up, and last week, nearly 4 out of 10 ICU beds were occupied, which was a jump of 10.5 percentage points from the week before.
Now, last Friday marked exactly 1 year since South Korea administered its first COVID-19 vaccine. Just tell us more about the progress we've seen on the vaccination front since then.
Well, Mark, South Korea has one of the highest vaccination rates in the world. Among all 38 OECD countries, South Korea ranks third in rolling out second vaccine shots. Portugal ranks first with more than 9 out of 10 people receiving second shots, and Chile ranks second. Now, if we compare South Korea to other OECD countries, you can see we made much progress on administering shots. As of Sunday, 86.4% of the population have been fully vaccinated, and 6 out of 10 Koreans have also received their booster shots. What's particularly impressive is that Korea has higher vaccination rates than the US, UK, or Germany, which are countries that administered vaccine shots before us. And South Korea is set to continue rolling out more vaccines. From Monday, those who have an underlying condition or a weak immune system and have also finished getting their booster shots will be able to get their fourth vaccine shot. Reservations for the second booster shot have been open since February 14th, and administration will start today. Some 1.3 million people aged 18 and up are eligible. Like always, those who did not make reservations in advance can book their shots on the day using KakaoTalk or the Naver app. They can also call medical clinics and ask if they can register themselves on the waiting list. And now the fourth shot will either be a Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. And speaking of Moderna, some 1.2 million extra doses are set to arrive later in the afternoon. And this is some part of some 150 million doses of Pfizer, Moderna, Janssen, and Novavax shots the government secured earlier this year.
So how are South Korean authorities evaluating this?
Well, on the domestic front, many are positively reviewing South Korea's antivirus measures, and this includes Prime Minister Kim Boo-kyum, who said South Korea is doing a better job compared to other countries. In a Facebook post on Sunday, the Prime Minister wrote how South Korea has been able to keep the number of critically ill patients, deaths, and occupied ICU beds relatively low. He said as of February 21st, the number of deaths per 1 million people in Korea was only 143, whereas this figure had surpassed 2,000 in the US, France, and UK. But according to Bloomberg, South Korea isn't one of the top 10 places to live during the pandemic. Bloomberg has been measuring a country's resilience to COVID-19 every month from 2020, and key determinants include the COVID-19 situation, quality of life, and just how much the economy has reopened. In February, Korea's ranking fell 12 places and is now 21st in the COVID resilience ranking out of 53 countries. And while South Korea has shown progress in the number of people infected or who have died from COVID-19, it has measured very poorly for economic activity and quality of life.
All right, Yeun, thank you for the information. We'll talk to you again on Wednesday.
Thank you so much.